They've confirmed a points adjustment next week for Genesys.
5, 4, 3, 2.
Yugi Bros! What's going on, guys? It's Yugi Bros, and today we're going to talk about a points update adjustment. Now, we don't have one as of yet, but a few days ago they posted analysis from YCS Anaheim, and they actually talk about cars that you might see on the next update. Flying Sea, Pot of Extravagance, they talk about Dirac Meteor, they also talk about how Graceful Charity and Mirage of Nightmare saw less play than they expected, Mirage of Nightmare especially because it's 10 points. They also said, however, that the next update would be 4 to 5 weeks after the last one. The last one was 3 or 4 weeks ago now, so either we get an update in a couple of days, or next week at the latest based on this specific article. With that in mind, allow me to present to you a black screen. This black screen will eventually become my prediction list. For example, here's the 0 points. Now I screenshotted straight from Dueling Book, so this is what I think should be updated. Now, I'm also going to give a slew of extra things that I would change that I'm sure Konami probably won't, but this, if I had the power to change things, would be my complete change of everything going forward. I understand a lot of these probably won't change, a lot of these probably won't move, but this is just how I see it, and this is the Yugi Bros Genesys points adjustment prediction. So, starting off with 0 points, I'd move Lance to 0 because I don't understand why it's even at 3. I don't think it deserves to be there at all. Chalice makes sense. Lance, no point. And Sneaky C, some people are talking about Sneaky C probably getting hit. I do not think it deserves to get hit, so that would be my points list for 0. On to the 1 points. We have a decent chunk. So cards like Skullmeister and No Material and Cosmic Cyclone, in my opinion, aren't doing anything to break the game. However, if you want to at least pull people away from using something in excess, throw a point on it. Throw a single point on it, and all of a sudden it changes the entire realm of how you would go building a deck. If for some reason your entire deck took up the full 100, then you'd have to play something like MST instead, and I feel like that would promote the Radiant Typhoon cards a bit more too, in case you want to go into that engine, because currently it's all free. Unless, of course, it changes going into the next points adjustment, but I wouldn't personally change much on that list for that deck. Labyrinth, I have both Lady and Aria at 1 point, therefore the other 99 points in Labyrinth get wrapped up in Big Welcome, Regular Welcome, and Lady Lab, not Silver Castle, the other one, the hand trap one. With both of these at 1 point, it forces you to choose one or the other. Maybe that's too strong, but I think Labyrinth has had it too good for too long, and this isn't so much Labyrinth's format. Don't get me wrong, you can still play a competent Labyrinth deck, but now you are forced to play one or the other, and you're most likely going to play this, so it would cut this out. But if you want to go a different route, you take Welcome out. I don't know. Again, You might just not have to touch it at all. I do, however, feel like this card should be at least 1 point, at the very least, and then that gets the Medora or the Oracle out of their deck. Just to say, okay, but no, no to that as well. Tenpai, I have Tenpai hits coming. Not that Tenpai isn't arguably non-playable anyways, but these are cards that I feel like you just put at 1 again just to prevent other things from happening. Generator is frustrating because the deck finally is cool. Not that it wasn't, but it's just finally seeing play. The problem is VFD is a card, Calamities is a card, and so because of that, you gotta put some generators to 1 point. That way you can't play them with Calamity, and I get the XYZs probably aren't the right call here. These definitely should be. I am not a huge knower of generator combos and stuff, so I'm sure these are actually supposed to be like the plant one and some other ones. You guys fill me in the comments as to what these should be, but the only way you get them to not play with VFD is if you put them all at 1 point each, so you're probably going to have to do that. But I don't want to kill Generator. I think the deck's awesome. I just want to kill VFD. The ability to play Calamities in Generator. My 2 point changes. Dangers. Oh, for example, here, the last 3 dangers I forgot to mention. I have changed all the dangers that were 3 points. I moved 3, 3, and 3 of the dangers to different point totals, which I'll get to in a second. Dogman, Mothman, and what's this one? Ogopogo? Chuck them at 1. Bigfoot, Thunderbird, Choop, put them at 2. Or you might want to swap Thunderbird with Mothman. Interchangeable, for sure. And then I have on the 3 list, I have Nessie, Sneck, and Jack, because at 7s, I think those are absolutely ridiculous. I don't think that engine is crazy that you can't just go 3, 3, 3, 2, 3, 1s. Maybe swap these 2, but other than that, like, I wouldn't. I don't. 7 is ridiculous. Like that adds up so fast. We're not playing Exodia, guys. They killed all the other ways to play Exodia. Herald's purple and green, I kind of just feel like should be points. In case of future things, maybe put them at 1s. 2s I just felt like was a little bit better, especially when you're playing with multiples. Multiples at 6 versus 6, depends on where you're going with that. But I have Orange Light at 3, just because I feel like that card can get really strong. Now Crow, a perfect example of this should probably be in the 1 point section. I just feel like Crow is so good, and it kind of stops everything. So maybe just chuck it at 3. It doesn't deserve to be higher than that. If you want to just shut it at 1 too, like that can happen. I don't think that's the end of the world. But I don't know. Slayer, I just don't see why this is at 0. It should be at a number that's not 0. Especially because you then get access to whatever you're sending out of the extra deck, which is other things. And I get like Genesys is already points and stuff too, but like, I don't know. Crazy card. Definitely shouldn't be 0 for sure. Gravedigger's Trap Hole. I've had a lot of people talk to me about this one. I don't necessarily agree with it, but I get the logic of like burn 2k and negate hand and or grave effect. Like, alright, throw some points on it. These 2, I don't. 5 is too much, especially when Griffin's already 20. I just feel like that adds up too fast for an engine that is kind of subpar at best, in the sense of the fact that like you're playing a lot of bricks to facilitate that engine. I know it's crazy to say Adventure is slow, but maybe I'm alone on this. I just feel like at 5s these kind of are adding up. But again, I can argue the reason to not switch them. Odeon has to get hit somewhere. Not that it is busted per se. The same goes for Exo. Like, so I don't hate that these decks are in the format, and I don't feel like just because they top the first Wise Heads or something like that, or they're prevalent, means you have to hit them. I do, however, understand that like the whole deck being free feels a little accessible. Therefore, if you put some things in the deck at 3s or 2s or 1s, at least then it's not as free as it could be. But I understand if they don't hit anything here. I just get I get where people are coming from when they say that like the deck being free makes it far and away the best deck. It's a debate, sure. It's a debate for sure. Return of the Dragon Lords. I don't understand why this was even hit. I had this in my 0 section originally, but then I thought maybe because Dragon Rulers, so by that logic, put it to 3, but I don't think that card deserves to be 7 at all. And the Masquerade. This is more for like branded decks that are just playing the burn variant. Well, I don't know. This could also be 0, and maybe it wouldn't change anything. But when we get further up here, they get more decisive. So let's talk about the 5-pointers. Retaliating Sea should be not 0, but I don't think it's crazy to just put it at 5, unless it becomes a huge issue moving forward, in which case we bump it higher. These are fine. I think these are perfectly fine here. I think Valor should also sit with these ones. I get Valor's more than once per turn, but it also is only on your opponent's turn, so I think that's warranted. Monster Born, in my opinion, is not a good card in most things. I don't know why this is 15 points. I don't know why this card in the TCG is still at 1. I think it could go to 3 tomorrow, and it wouldn't be the end of the world. No one would play it. Put it to 5 points, Konami. I dare you to see what happens with this. If it becomes an issue, then I guess bump it back up, but I don't think it would be. Chalice, I think, is perfect card at 5. Book of Moon, I feel like, should be at 5. Book of Eclipse is 5, and I don't agree with that at all, and that's on my list further up here. We'll talk about that in a second. But Book of Moon, Put it to 5. I don't even know if Book deserves to be at 5. I think Book is just an all-balanced, fair card. Kind of like Chalice here, so I would just throw it to 5. Man of the Mark, I have him at 5. If you hit any of these, he's the one. But I do understand, like, any combination also makes sense. Vanquished Soul is a deck where I just feel like it's good in advanced. It shouldn't also be like the best deck in Genesys, and now it may not be. It won the YCS, the Genesys event, but there was only one, or no, there was 4 in Top Cut, I think. I don't know. It's still very early of a format to figure that out, but I just feel like it has a format. Don't also have it take over this format too. They felt that way when they updated the K9 cards, right? So, I don't know. I think you just maybe throw them at 5s and see what happens. I think Stake Your Soul maybe you put a little bit higher, but we'll go there when we go there. Asceticism at 10, I feel it's too much. They really have GBs and like ABC and 6 Sams on these lists. I think it's just old heads at Konami thinking those decks are going to take off, and I don't think those decks are all that great personally, but I don't know. Knock it down. I'd take these things off the list personally if it was me, but I think it's a fair balance to like throw it lower for now points wise, and then we'll come back to it. Regenesis, this card is bad. Well, okay, the card isn't bad, the deck is bad. I don't think this card, first off, definitely shouldn't be 33 points. You want to make an argument for 7 or 10, sure, go for it, but the card's not great. If anything, Archfiend should be the one that gets hit. But instead, I just knocked this one down because I just don't really think it matters. Like, we tested it, and it wasn't even that great. Direct Meteor, that direct engine. I don't want to kill these cool engines people are finding. However, I don't have any Fire King hits on this list. If anything, this is the only quote-unquote Fire King hit. And it's just like, why not put it at 5? It doesn't kill the engine. It just prevents you from also playing, like, what Fire King currently can facilitate in addition to this engine without any points of it being a thing. It's either you hit this or you hit Astro, or Astro, or whatever its name is, because that's the one that facilitates it. But, you know, it just, card blows everything up. Turn 0, crazy. 7 points. I have Spectral. I know other people are going routes of like put the Dragon Rulers to 8 points or 9 points, and I don't know, 7 seems like a good amount for me too, but I think it's crazy that Spectral was nothing. And Nebulous is great too, but like, I don't want to hit both. There's also an argument to hit the XYZ, the one that takes rank 9s or rank 7s as material, but I think you go for the main deck. You just leave the extra deck be for now, but Spectral would be my hit for sure. Extrav can't be free. It just can't be. Like, the card's pot agreed. So at 7 points, I still think it's the worst of all the pots, but at least that way it's something and not nothing. Crossout is a card where I feel like you could throw it down to 7 or 5 points because it's still only as good as the things you are playing that your opponent is also playing. And with everything costing a certain amount of points, unless it's like right now Droll and Lock, which is 5 points, you're not guaranteed to hit what you're calling with this card. Now, Droll and Lock on my list, obviously you haven't seen it at 5 points, so you know I've got it much higher. But by that logic, I think Crossout can come down for sure. Karma Cannon, I would bump this up just a tad. This card obviously hasn't been crazy yet, but this card will be crazy. Trust me, it will be crazy. So let's just be a little preemptive. I think 5 is a little too free for that card. The Solemns, I feel like, should all be the same amount of points, and I'm going to rack Iron Thunder in with the Solemns because it's a Solemn, let's be fair. Put them all at 7. You could arguably put them, these 2 to 5 and this one to 7, but I just feel like if you're on that swing already, I can't knock Solemn lower than 7. Maybe they should be 5. Maybe they shouldn't be 7. But this shouldn't be free, and I feel like this should be more closer to this one. But maybe 5's fine. Sheen's Dojo. Again, like, I don't get the 6 Sam Gladiator Beast hatred on these lists. Knock these to 7. See them still not do anything, and then knock them lower. I got Pax up here for an Exosister card. Again, any combination you want to go, but I think since this is the Searcher, probably the best one, probably the easiest one to hit. Kind of like how I have Stake Your Soul up in the 10-point section. Ash should not be 15. I think 15's too much. It stops one thing, and yes, it can stop anything almost. It's, you know, it's everywhere. By that logic, don't put it to 5 like these other cards that are 5s, like Ogre and stuff. Put it to 10. 15's too much. But 10's reasonable, right? And Delta, I think, when you have Gamma at 15 and Delta at half of that, I think Delta is strong enough where, like, Epsilon you have at 7, keep that there, but, like, Delta should be 10. Just a little bit of an increase on it, but, like, Delta is strong, like, for sure. Eclipse is too good at 5. Like I said, Book of Moon should be 5. This should be 10. This card is strong, and I'd still play it at 10. Just like Droplet, this and Droplet, to me, would still be the best 2 things to play at 10 points for board wipe cards, and then Dark Ruler if you're playing a specific deck. But like I said, Dark Ruler also should be not 0. These should easily be 10. They're too good not to be. Stake Your Soul is my search card for that. Reasoning! This card's at 3 Master Duel, does nothing. I don't understand why this and Monster Gate are so heavy points in this. Monster Gate's better though. I have it up here. It's just still less than what it has. But Reasoning, get this 50 out of here. Like, I get you can do some cool, dumb crap with this, but you still have to get what your opponent called. It's very RNG. So, put it at 10. Guru I have at 10 because I've lowered Hidden City slightly, so we'll get to that in a second. But I still, you know, think it's warranted to put these here. And then these 4. These 4 should all be 10 at most. They shouldn't be any more than that. 33 on these is ridiculous, especially because 6 Sams already have both their Shians at 10s. We have Dojo and Asceticism at lower numbers, but still. And then this only searches a 3 or lower as it is. And I understand, like, the new 2 Sooners for the deck are crazy, but 33 is ridiculous. Ridiculous. And same goes for Proving Ground. Glads have a better searcher in the field spell than they do in Proving Ground. And you're going to make the field 0, but Proving 33? No. Put that down to 10. Like, I have Rejection here at 7. I guess you could put Rejection at 10, but again, I think Rejection's too high as well. And Dojo at 10, Asceticism at 7. Oh no, I'm sorry. I have Asceticism at 5, Dojo at 7, this at 10. 6 Sams is not going to break the bank. It's just not. Like, I get that it puts up negates, but, like, it's really easy to break the deck, and then once you break the deck, they really can't come back. So, it's just my opinion on that. White Forest. Which of the White Forest? The field spell? Maybe 15, but I do not think this card at 10 still. I'm still not playing it in my deck. My other 100 points is racked up in the other cards that I wouldn't change the points of. I think they're all warranted. I still wouldn't play this card at 10. So I feel like that answers that question. And then ABC, right? Union Hanger. ABC is a deck that was so good because links existed. You just get the materials off the field. They all search every time you link them off. We don't have links in this format. The deck is way worse. Way worse. Just put Hanger to 10. I don't think it needs to be 30. It definitely doesn't need to take up... 3 Hanger shouldn't take up your entirety of points. It's ridiculous. I'm actually skipping 15 here and doing 13s. I think 13s are actually really cool, and Imperm has shown us that. I think Imperm is a perfect card at 13. I think Nibiru could stay at 10, but also warrants a 13 for sure. I guess you could put Ash at 13, but again, I just think a 10 makes more sense. I have Dominus up higher than Ash just because it's a tad more accessible depending on what you're doing with it. But I can argue, like, these should probably be the same amount. It's just that, like, being able to play both is crazy. That's why I feel like one should be higher than the other. And Impulse is 30, so if that tells you anything right there. Like, and I get Impulse is stronger, but still. And then Gamma, I've put them down to 13, just because I like the 13s better than the 15s. But, you know, I feel like it warrants it considering we bumped Delta up a bit. And then 20s, I have Swap Frog because I have moved Totally Awesome because you haven't seen him yet, and he would have been 20, but he is currently 20, but we've moved him up. So I have him down because I don't think he deserves to take up 33. It's just 3 of these in your deck, and then you're out of points. That's crazy. And they're doing it just because Toad is at 20, but I think Toad should be higher and this should be lower. Kaiju Slumber, Dark Hole is 3 points. This is 33 points. Yeah, you can search a Kaiju on a separate turn. Yes, it puts the Kaijus on both sides of the field. Yes, it does more things. You can Ash this, though. You can't Ash Dark Hole. Put it at 20. I don't see why this is so high. I don't get it at all. Don't get that. The Graphofusion is confusing to me because most Omnis or, like, Negates are around 20. Harbinger's 20. And Grapha's 5. And I want to know why that is. I guess it's less accessible for sure than something like Harbinger, but I feel like this can get out of hand. Now, we have Snow at 33, and I could argue moving that down some points. I don't have it on this list. I don't have it on a change. I still have it at 33, but should this be 5? Maybe 20's too high because it is just accessible Dark Worlds for the most part. Maybe 13, but definitely shouldn't be 5. I have this Tenpai at 20 because the other ones I have at 1s, and then you're about to see some other Tenpais in a second that are higher up. So I've knocked him down. Genroku's a little lower just because the other ones are a bit higher. Super Poly should not be 10. I just feel like it's obvious. Card is one of the craziest board breakers to ever exist. Bump it to 20. If it's still a problem at 20, then go higher. But right now, just put it to 20. All right, my 25s. I've halved Monster Gates points. I've dropped E-Telly to 25 because 40's too high. Josh Schmidt has a really good video as to why, like, terraforming, for example, shouldn't be 33. So we've put it at 25. I think he had it down at, like, 15. And maybe I could understand that, but I do get they want you to search a lot less in this format, so we'll start it at 25, and if it's still not an issue, maybe bump it lower. Foolish Burial, it's not the card it once was, but it is still good. Put it at 25 right now. 33 is too high. 33 on all three of these, in my opinion, is way too high, and I get they don't want you to zombie vampire combo every single deck. But don't hurt these for that reason. Then just put zombie vampire higher. And even still, are we really doing this? Are we really doing this, Konami? I don't know. It's crazy. You can still zombie vampire currently with this as a one of. The other card, the Golem is a 3 of, YUGIOH is a 1 of, and zombie vampire as it is. I don't know. Put these at 25s. I don't feel like Horus is going to break the game at 25s. So at 100 points, you'd play 2 Umseti, 2 King Sark, and you can't use anything else. I think that's perfectly fine. But the fact that you're on 1 and 1 or 1 and 2, I don't know. It's just consistency sucks on that point. We have so many outs to this anyway. The Dear Servant probably shouldn't be 33 either. Put it at 25. I think this could be less too, but we'll start it here and see where it goes. Diagram. I'd argue we could cut this even lower than 25, but I don't. People are so scared of True Dragon. I do not think it's a problem. And yeah, I guess True Kings, you can throw a True King deck too, I guess. Again, just VFD, whatever. Diagram, it's not an issue. I think this could be 20. Arguably 15, and it'd still be fine. But I'm lowering it slightly here. Hidden City I've lowered slightly because I bumped Guru to 10, so I put this down to 25. The thing that searches the exactly Full Metal Red Eyes, I don't think this deserves to be 33. I don't even know if it deserves to be 25, but again, I'm bumping a lot of the 33s to 25s and just seeing where it goes right now. So that's where I'm at with that. Same goes for Librarian. I get it can be crazy, but I don't know. Prove it first. And then Ripper, I'm bumping it up 5 just because this card is cracked. Absolutely cracked. And you can do so much. And I don't have any other K9 hits on here because they already added K9 hits to the last list. But just put Ripper up of an extra 5, and I think we'll be fine with that. Now my 33s. I get people want these at 100. I don't think they will do that. However, I do think that these should be the exclusive hand traps that push past the barrier of like 15 and lower. And that's because they are both Floodgates, and they are both ridiculous, and I have mistaken arrest as well, because 1, this card is currently 0, and it shouldn't be 0, and 2, it lasts 2 turns, and it's basically Joel and Lockbird. They all shouldn't. You want to play 3 and nothing else, be my guest. Same with this, same with this. If there's still an issue, bump them higher. I had them at 40s originally, but I put them at 33. I'm like, you know what? You want to play 3 of any of these? You don't deserve anything else, go for it. Evenly Matched is a card where, in my opinion, it's the best board breaker for the least amount of points that's not named Dark Ruler No More or Book of Eclipse currently. And that is just because banishing everything face down is insane. Especially when we don't have links to compensate. I don't I don't like Evenly. I've never liked Evenly. I think it's poorly designed, terribly designed card. But let's try it at 33 for now. And if it's fine there, then great. I don't think people are going to want to warrant all their points in the 3 evenly match, but I do think that they will. If it's only 10 points, it's crazy as a 10-pointer. And then Salesman, I don't know why this is 100 personally. It only lasts for 1 turn for you, and it only locks 1 card. So, while I understand calling Nibiru or Draw and Lock, which is the main thing we were doing with it anyways, is good, I don't think it deserves 100 slap. Like, it was 0. Yeah, it was clearly an oversight, but you're going to just knock it out of the game completely. I don't think it deserves to be knocked out of the game. Especially when, like, Designator's 10 currently, right? And, like, yeah, I guess you have to also have the card in your deck. But 100? Nah, put it to 33. Put it to a number that's not that. Now, you'll notice I don't have a 50 point or a 40 point. I have a 51 point. The reason for that is I think the 51 point section could get really, really cool. I don't know if we have anything that's currently 51, but 51 is cool because none of these can be played as 2-ofs. At 50, they could. At 51, they cannot. There's a couple hundreds here that I think do not warrant. For example, Instant Fusion, while this card is nuts, Norden is 91, so we're not summoning that, even at 51. And at 51, I don't think this card is crazy. Maybe I'm wrong. Am I missing something? Please let me know. But I don't see why we just knocked it out of the game at 100 immediately. I don't think it warranted. The card's good, but it's not crazy good. Like 100 points good? I think that's too strong. 1 for 1, same argument. I think you could put this at 50 and play 2 of it. But let's not jump the gun. I do think 91 is too strong for a 1 for 1. Totally awesome I have here because I put the Swap Frog down. And yeah, you can still play Swap Frog, but I have Ronin and Totally here, so you can't play both of these at all. And if you want to play 1 and 1, and if you want to play one of this and a swap, you can. But swap is what, 20? Right. And Toad is now 51. So you can do 1 of this and 2 of this, but you're not going to send Ronin for it because you can't play both of these together. And it makes it so that it's just not... I don't understand their whole, like, we have Omnis. We have something at, like, Harbinger at 20, which is 2 level 8s, and it only negates spells. But we have Omnis at 20 that are Omnis plus extra effects. Like, Baron is Omni plus extra effects, it's 85 points. This is Omni plus extra effect. You set the card it negates, and then also gets a water back when it dies, including itself. But it's 20? No, put that up. Put that higher. Same with Infinity. It's an Omni, but it also sucks monsters up and puts them on it as materials. If this is really why Ptolemaeus is 100 points, put them both at 51 so you still can't play them both, but don't kill Ptolemaeus to the point where, like, it's unplayable. I get it. Once Tellarknights get their new support and this becomes a turn skip problem, yeah, put it to 100. That makes more sense. But until that time, this card doesn't do anything. Like, it's the craziest thing it can churn out is Infinity, because it can't churn out Azathoth, because Azathoth's also 100. It can't churn out Infinity being 100, but we still prevent that at the 51 mark. But the craziest thing it puts out is what, the 80s? And that's fine. There's nothing crazy about that. So the same argument can be made with Colossus, where I think Colossus is a card that you can't play 2 of at 51. You can't play 2 at 67 either. But give that deck 49 other points to mess with, because 67 is this weird number where it and Paradise Smasher are at that just, like... Paradise Smasher, I swear it's the meme because he's number 67. Colossus is this weird number of 67 that just doesn't, like, make a whole lot of sense. Put him at 51. That way you still can't play 2. But you give that deck the ability to still put points into other things. And if you're worried about, like, Instant Fusion, you still can't do that, being at 51 at 51. You can't make the Kaminari attack and then make the Colossus, so that's out of the question. But you can do, like, Ready Fusion, But you could do Ready Fusion already. So, I don't know. I think this is more warranted. Now, I put Zombie Vampire to 51 instead of 50. 1, so you can't play 2, and 2, because I bumped all of the engine stuff to make him down a bit. I still don't find that fair. I think this card could be 33, maybe less. I don't know. Maybe 25 as well. But we'll give him the benefit of the doubt. We'll put him up 1 point so you can't play multiples, so that these can thrive more as themselves rather than just facilitating a zombie vampire. And you still can do it at 25, but then you can't go like 25, 25, 51. That's 101. You're not allowed to do that. Whereas you could play this as a one of, this as a one of, it'd be what, 76? Yeah, and then you have 24 for other stuff. But you're not playing these, obviously. Well, I guess technically you could play one or the other, but you're not going to. And then, okay, viruses. These are 0. Should not be here. They shouldn't be at 0 for sure. So we have them at 51 to make it so you can't play both. And we have Erad even higher. We'll get to him in a second. I get that this rips out of the extra deck, but I don't think it deserves to be 85 points rips out of the extra deck. Because if you want to compare an 85er to this, Baron is an 85er, and Baron deserves the 85. This does not deserve the 85. Don't know why it's here. Shouldn't be more than 51, but at least at 51 you're not playing 2, so you can't like summon multiple in the same turn and rip multiple cards out of the extra deck. If you want to do that, you got to loop this guy. 10 pies, 51 and 51 as opposed to the 50s, so you can't play both, so it limits it even further. Yeah, that just no. I don't think you deserve to play 2 red reboots in the same format. That's just me. Red reboots shuts people out for the turn. It's quote-unquote a floodgate that just kind of ends the game. You're playing it in OTK decks. You get 1. 51. Can't play another one. Yeah, you could argue Max C should probably be 51 instead of 50, but until Max C does consistently do something in the format, I'm not going to change where he's at. This is a floodgate for a turn in making everything Macrocosmos. Don't know why it's at 10. Probably should be a little bit higher than that. Didn't put it at 100 because it's one turn, but it's still really dumb. And if it gets to be continually be a problem, maybe we bump it higher, but that's why I have it at 51. And then Liger. Why is this 0? Maybe it shouldn't be 51. I just don't feel like you deserve to be able to play more than one of it. But it's unaffected. Yeah, Lunalight doesn't have Tiger. And yeah, I guess that's proven to be good enough so far, but I don't know. It definitely shouldn't be none. That's for sure. It's a towers, right? And then hundreds. I kept saying summoning here. Necro Valley's Floodgate. Should be at 100. Spectre Ward's a Floodgate. Should be at 100. Eradicator. Better than these two. Also, at 51, you still couldn't... You have to choose one of the 3. But this one is just so much better than the other 2. Put it at 100. Stygian Dirge. I don't care about this card currently, but I do understand, like in the ban played on being 100, that this will eventually be an issue, so probably just chuck it at 100. The Heralds are essentially floodgates based on how many fairies you have for negates. Chuck them both here. They don't need to be here. I get Calamity is 1 point because the easy ways to cheat it out are on the list, but it just shouldn't exist. It just shouldn't exist. Maybe am I salty because somebody summoned this against me the correct way? Yeah, I am. But it shouldn't exist. It just shouldn't. You shouldn't be able to. It shouldn't. I shouldn't just not be able to play. That. On that note, I don't know why this is 67. Just put it at 100. On that note, I don't know why this is 97. Just put it at 100. It's both a Floodgate and Macrocosmos and Disruption. Get rid of that. Kali Yuga. I get the rank ups are there, but just put it to 100. Just put it to 100. I don't think Chaos Hunter is broken. But for the same reason Lancia is up here, put them at both at 100 because they're floodgates. Flying Sea, put it at 100 because it's a floodgate, stops the XYZ decks. And why are these 0? Please tell me in the comments why these are 0. These should both be 100. Now, I have one final section. The 101. Distant Coder put up a video, and I get he's kind of walked it back since then, where Genesys might have a reason to put a 101 point section where it essentially bans cards out of the 100-point tournaments. And I don't disagree with that when it comes to specifically these 3 cards, because these 3 cards probably just shouldn't exist. Now, they probably won't do this, in which case, knock them all back in the hundreds. And these 2 are currently 100. Last turn should definitely be 100 because of that one player at the YCS that played the deck with it and then had a judge follow him around the whole event because last turn is BS and has dumb rulings. 1 should just be at 100 at bare minimum, so that's not happening nearly as much. But 2, you can prevent the whole thing, Konami, if you just put this card at 101. And I could make the argument to keep these at 100 and just make this 101. This card just shouldn't exist, period. At all. Ever. It's a dumb card. Last turn, get out of here. But VFD, you either hit all the generators at like 1 point each, or you just get rid of VFD completely at 101. And then people don't have to worry about them anymore. And then as a thought, it's kind of the same as Calamity here and Kali-Yuga and stuff like that. But I don't know. I just feel like him being in the game only prevents terrible, or only creates terrible play, similar to VFD. So maybe these should be here as they currently are, and this is the only card that deserves the 101 spot since it is an alt win con. But you get my argument either way. So guys, what do you think? Leave your comments down below as to, do you agree? Do you disagree? Is there anything on here you would change? Is there anything you agree with that you like? Is there anything you dislike? I'm sure this will be a lot. Konami will not change this many cards. They just won't. Especially when you have points updates coming up like every 4 to 6 weeks. But at the same time, there are several cards here that definitely need to be not 0. I'm looking at these. I'm looking at this. This shouldn't be 40. These viruses shouldn't be 0. You know, Super Poly shouldn't be 10. Dark Ruler shouldn't be free. Book of Eclipse shouldn't be 5. You know, stuff like that. But obviously, these are just my opinions. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you guys in the next one.